It finally happened. Erik Logan is out as CEO of the WSL, and surf fans are celebrating. But the timing of the news is more than a little bit strange. It was no secret that Elo was on a timer. After the many public scandals, mistakes, and bizarre situations Logan has found himself over the years, the fans knew he was on his way out. Yet, no one expected that the WSL would drop him 8 days into one of the biggest surf tournaments of the summer. The World Surf League announced Erik Logan's departure in a short press release on Thursday, the 29th of June, and named his acting replacements Emily Hofer and Bob Kane. No official reason was given for his departure, leaving fans to speculate wildly as to the specific reason why Elo was finally getting the boot. Erik Logan's tenure as CEO was nothing if not entertaining. From his strongly worded threat to Gabriel Medina and 2 other Brazilian world champions, to wearing a t-shirt with Felipe Toledo's chest tattoo, the man was a joy to watch. But he was also fairly decent at his job as CEO. Before joining the WSL as chief of content in 2019, the bubbly Oklahoman was network executive of the Oprah Winfrey Network and had a hand in some of the network's most popular shows like Greenleaf and Queen Sugar. After the exit of his predecessor, Sophie Goldschmidt, in 2020, Logan was made the CEO to bump up revenue and develop the media production side of the WSL during the pandemic. His push with the Make or Break series on Apple TV Plus exposed the gritty and unforgiving world of pro surfing and was an overall net positive for the sport. It brought the league mainstream appeal while also satisfying fans. The Ultimate Surfer on ABC is another major contribution from Erik Logan. He also launched several scripted and non-scripted WSL studio original series and collaboration projects that received mixed reviews from fans and surfers alike. While his bubbly attitude and passion were thoroughly appreciated, the surfer community were not fans of Erik. He didn't grow up with the sport like they did. He picked up surfing later on in his life as a vulnerable adult learner. He was famously afraid of water, using the wetsuit his wife gifted him as armor as he took on the waves and developed an appreciation for the sport. Most surfers in the community, however, believe that the appreciation is only skin deep. A look outside his television accomplishment tells us why. Shortly after COVID, Elo and the WSL at large began a campaign to rapidly restructure the sport to make it more sustainable. The worst of the changes by far was the mid-season cut. The change banishes over half of the roster to the Challenge Series, where they have to claw their way back to the Championship Tour. According to Logan, the change was a good thing. It cut down the length of the Championship Tour considerably, which had always felt overwhelming and drawn out to casual fans. The new format was supposed to turn up the heat, draw in new fans, feed nicely into the Challenger Series, and remove pressure from the qualifying series. With the Challenger Series now flush with lots of talent, athletes in the qualifying series can breathe. Events can be held locally instead of internationally. This way, everyone got a fair shake at reaching the championship tournament regardless of the size of their wallet. The only problem with this new structure is that it gave athletes only one real shot at the championship and fostered an atmosphere of cutthroat competition. The desire to stir up more drama was also the impetus for the Final Five, a new championship format Logan introduced. Naturally, there was a pushback to these changes. How much? Everybody hated it. There was a massive outcry on social media, and the top athletes in the industry signed a petition to have the mid-season cut reconsidered and disregarded, but Logan stood his ground. He explained that the new format was here to stay and that it laid the foundation for the growth and expansion of the WSL. While the mid-season cut was problematic, it was fair and hardly warranted a dismissal, but his next scandal certainly did. After Gabriel Medina, 3-time World Surf Champion, was eliminated at Surf Ranch Pro on May 20th by the Australian superstar Ethan Ewing, he took to Instagram to express his dissatisfaction about the final scores. In his courteous post, he called out the judges, claiming they rewarded simple surfing, incomplete transitions, instead of progression and variety. He urged the WSL to better clarify the criteria for their judgment. Brazilian pros and fans alike rallied behind Medina, passing judgment on WSL, the employees, and CEO. Even Italo Ferreira and Felipe Toledo stood behind Medina and declared their support. championing Medina's desire for the evolution of the sport with justice and transparency in mind. Erik Logan responded like a true network executive with a public statement addressing the controversy head-on. He clarified the judging criteria and pointed out that Medina and the rest of the athletes were given the opportunity to bring any question forward before the beginning of the event. He also pointed out that Medina broke protocol by speaking negatively of the WSL on social media, which is directly against its terms and services. What really set the internet on fire was his opening statement. In recent days, a number of surfers, WSL judges, and employees have been subjected to intimidation, harassment, and the threat of violence. Those things should never happen in our sport or any sport, and we're devastated that the members of our community have been subjected to them. It's an important reminder that action has consequences. Most saw that last line as an open threat. Coupled that with the verbal dress down that came afterward and his eagerness to silence Medina, as well as the refusal to acknowledge the champion's point of view, made Elo appear almost authoritarian. Public sentiment swung wildly against him, and the very thing he wanted to avoid came to pass. In solidarity with their pro surfers, surfers everywhere shook their heads in disappointment and frustration. Fast forward to the 2023 Brazil Viva Pro, and the tension from the situation had mostly died down. Erik even posted a heartfelt Instagram post about the WSL in Brazil on the 26th of June. The news of his departure came suddenly and without fanfare. While the drama was over a month old, people speculate that the blowout between Logan and Medina was the reason why he was let go. After alienating the entire community and antagonizing one of the most famous surf stars on the planet, it was only natural that Dirk Ziff and the board of the WSL might decide to isolate themselves and cut ties with him. However, given the suddenness of his exit, some fans speculate there was so much more going on behind the scenes. Perhaps he made a colossal misstep, or one of his many antics, botched speeches, or social faux pas caught up with him. Regardless of what you think about the man, Erik Logan got results. He was one of the better CEOs of the WSL. He was handed the reins to the organization at a trying time, and he made the best of the situation with plans and policies targeting long-term profitability, even though it pissed off the fans. His replacement certainly has big shoes to fill. Chief People Officer Emily Hoffer and Bob Kane, COO, and Chief Legal Officer will be taking over as interim CEOs until the WSL can find a suitable replacement. Several great names come to mind for the position: Kelly Slater, Bob Hurley, or Evan Slater. All men have done phenomenally well for themselves both in and out of the surfing arena, and are adored and respected by the fans. Kelly Slater has won 56 champion tours and remains active in the community. He's widely regarded as one of the best to ever do it. Bob Hurley, longtime surfer, is the founder of Hurley, one of the biggest surfing and swimming clothing and accessory brands. If anybody has the experience to run a profitable business, it's him. Evan Slater is a multi-talented surfer with real-life experience handling marketing, writing, and editing. All three men have the potential to get the WSL focused on the sport and fans again. Maybe it was time the World Surfing League was run by a retired pro surfer.